Welcome to Mind Research Rewired. We unveil scientific truths to transform confusion into clear thinking. Unlock a sharper, more effective you based on proven research. Subscribe now and elevate your life.
What if I told you that doing exactly what every venture capitalist, incubator, and business school out there teaches you to do is actually the fastest way to kill your startup's momentum?
I mean, it goes against everything we hear, right?
Yeah.
But finding a gap in the market and just filling it, it's a trap.
It really is. So, welcome to today's deep dive. We are targeting a massive assumption today, one that holds so many ambitious founders back.
Yeah, we're going to completely rewire how you view business opportunities.
Exactly, because look, we aren't talking about optimizing your conversion rates today. We are talking about ripping up the entire traditional playbook of how a business even comes into existence.
It's a fundamental unlearning process.
Yeah.
Because the mindset we are unpacking today, it separates the startups that get stuck in those endless, agonizing iteration cycles from the ones that completely redefine their categories.
The ones that capture that rabid loyalty.
Right, exactly. And it requires moving from this passive, observant posture to a radically proactive one.
So, to do this, our source material today is this incredibly insightful research paper. It's by Nielsen, Lassen, Tollestrup, and Nielsen.
It's titled Opportunity Design: What, Where, and How.
And the mission for this deep dive is to basically shatter the myth of the Eureka moment. You know, that idea that you just wait for a brilliant idea to strike?
The whole light bulb above the head thing.
Right. We want to replace that with a systematic framework for literally manufacturing opportunities from scratch.
And to understand just how radical this framework is, we really have to look at a classic academic debate. It's one that has been quietly dictating startup culture for decades.
The Schumpeter versus Kirzner debate, right?
Yeah, exactly. Two massive figures in economic theory. So Joseph Schumpeter, he argued that opportunities are fundamentally created by the entrepreneur.
Like forced into existence.
Right. The founder is this disruptive force who brings something entirely new to the table, basically destroying old markets in the process.
I love that. Total destruction of the old way.
But then you have Israel Kirzner, and he argued the opposite. He said opportunities exist a priori.
Meaning they're just, what, floating out there?
Pretty much. They're already out there in the market as inefficiencies or gaps, just waiting patiently to be discovered by a founder who's paying attention.
And honestly, that Kirzner view, that's basically the water we all swim in today. Like, we are taught to be hyper-alert gap spotters.
They really are.
Okay, let's unpack this with an analogy. It's like you, as a founder, are wandering down this massive beach with a metal detector. You're just listening for the beat, right? Hoping you stumble over a buried nugget of gold.
Which is opportunity discovery.
Exactly. But this research paper, it argues for opportunity design. We want you to drop the metal detector and, I don't know, build a machine that synthesizes gold on demand.
Synthesizing gold. I like that. But to understand how to actually design those opportunities, we had to break down why the metal detector model is flawed.
Right, what the academic literature calls opportunity recognition.
Exactly. It's structurally flawed for modern venture building. The paper references a traditional process model by researchers Hills, Schrader, and Lumpkin.
Right. They split the entrepreneurial journey into two distinct halves: discovery and formation.
Yeah. And discovery is the phase where
everyone seems to get bogged down and run out of money.
completely, because of how it's structured. In this traditional model, discovery relies on three sequential steps: preparation, incubation, and insight.
Okay, walk us through those.
So preparation is your deliberate gathering of market data. You're doing the research. Then incubation is it's kind of a vague psychological waiting room where data just stews in your subconscious.
You're just waiting for it to make sense.
Right. And then theoretically, you arrive at insight, the Eureka experience.
Yeah.
The market gap is identified.
And only after that, you are allowed to move to the formation half.
Exactly, which is just elaborating on and evaluating that insight.
I mean, it basically assumes the magic just happens to you. You do your market research, you sit in a beanbag chair, and suddenly a light bulb goes off.
But the psychological trap of that incubation phase is that it makes founders incredibly passive.
Oh, totally. Paralyzed, even.
Yeah, they get completely paralyzed, waiting for the market to hand them a perfectly packaged, data-backed problem.
But there's a vital quote in the text from a researcher named Artichvili.
Oh, this is a great one.
Right. He states quite bluntly, opportunities are made, not found. He says, You know, the need or resource recognized cannot become a viable business without this development.
Because a recognized need isn't a business opportunity yet. It's literally just an observation of empty space.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
If I observe a massive glaring bottleneck in, say, B2B supply chain software, the market just handed me the blueprint, didn't it?
Did it, though?
I mean, I have a clear user pain point. Investors love that because there's hard data proving the pain. So why shouldn't I just code the obvious solution to fill that gap?
Okay, here's the problem. A gap is just an absence of something. If you simply build the most obvious patch for that gap, you are instantly a commodity.
Ah, because everyone else sees it too.
Exactly. You're immediately competing on features and price with anyone else who noticed the exact same obvious gap.
So it's a race to the bottom.
Yep. So the pivot this research introduces is opportunity design. You don't just find a gap and plug it with a patch.
You proactively shape the gap itself.
Yes. You shape the gap and the solution simultaneously through these continuous design practices.
It's highly interactive.
Very. It's an interactive process between recognizing a faint hint of a problem and then creatively forcing an entirely new category into existence.
Man, that is powerful. But look, abstract theory doesn't get a product shipped, so we need to ground this in reality for the founders listening.
Let's do it.
To prove the mechanics of this, the researchers did a deep qualitative case study on a company called Libratone.
They build high-end sound systems, right?
Exactly. And this story is an absolute masterclass in escaping what we can call the piano black trap.
The Libratone narrative perfectly tracks that leap from discovering an opportunity to actually designing one.
So let's look at their first iteration. It was purely technological discovery.
Right. The origin story involves two sound technicians, one from the hi-fi industry and one from the hearing aid industry.
Which is a cool combo already.
It is. And they looked at the market and saw a rising demand for docking stations for iPads and iPhones.
But I mean, let's be honest, the sound quality on those early 2010s docking stations was notoriously terrible.
So bad. Tinny and weak.
So these two technicians invent an incredible engineering solution. They developed this wireless technology, later patented as full room technology, I think.
Yeah, full room. It uses a single speaker to bounce sound waves off the walls to create a true 360-degree stereo experience.
Which is brilliant engineering.
Yeah.
But it's still just discovery.
Exactly. They recognized that Kirzner Gap people want better sound from docking stations, and they engineered a patch for it.
They built a phenomenal engine, but they had absolutely no chassis to put it in.
None. Their initial business model was actually just to license this tech platform to existing hi-fi brands.
Right. And to pitch it, they obviously needed a physical shell to show what a speaker might look like.
So they hired a design consultancy to build a quick prototype.
And this is where their second iteration begins, and where opportunity design totally takes the wheel.
Right, because the initial brief handed to those designers was standard market-driven logic.
Like, make a standalone unit, give it a triangular shape to disperse the sound, and target it towards iPhone users and females.
And crucially, they only had the time and budget for one single concept.
A founder's everyday reality right there. Zero runway, minimal resources, and a very vague target demographic.
So the designers, lacking the budget for endless consumer focus groups, they had to rely on their capitalized experience and intuition.
And they recognized a massive, overwhelming trend in the market.
Yeah, the entire consumer electronics market was obsessively producing what they call piano black.
Oh man, the piano black era.
Everything was shiny, black plastic. Every product looked like a cold PC. It was a gadget race aesthetic driven entirely by spec sheets and tech updates.
Here is where we get into the 1% strategy. And honestly, this is a massive mental pivot for anyone trying to build a brand right now.
It's huge.
The designers realized something foundational about unit economics and human psychology. If they tried to make a slick, black, high-tech looking speaker to satisfy 99% of the broad consumer market,
They would be fighting a bloody war against 2,000 established brands.
exactly, brands with infinite marketing budgets, Sony, Bose, Samsung.
You'd spend all your customer acquisition budget trying to convince an indifferent mass market to care about your slight audio improvement.
So they realized competing in the gadget race was just a guaranteed death spiral for a bootstrapped startup.
Because consumers were exhausted by the endless cycle of buying tech updates just to consume.
So their strategy to escape that red ocean was just brilliant. They decided to design a speaker that explicitly did not look like electronics.
They designed it to look like contemporary Scandinavian furniture.
Yes. And the designer in the text makes this profound point. If just 1% of the market passionately, obsessively loves your product, you have a massive, highly profitable business.
You do not need the 99%.
You really don't. If that 1% loves you because you fit perfectly into their beautifully curated living room, they become highly visible ambassadors.
And they have zero alternatives, so they are entirely price insensitive.
They completely reshaped the opportunity. They shifted the anchor reference from electronic PC peripheral to home interior design.
Right, and they ignored the original brief to target females specifically.
Which was smart.
Very. Instead, they designed a bold, discreet, unisex system that wouldn't get banished to the basement.
Which is the usual fate of ugly hi-fi receivers. My wife definitely banished mine.
Oh, same here. So they didn't find a gap. They designed a category that literally didn't exist an hour prior.
So the big question is, how do you systemize that? How do you train your team to do what those Libratone designers did?
Well, Figure 2 in the research maps out this holistic design thinking model. It bridges the void between discovery and formation.
And the researchers highlight 3 specific practices for proactive opportunity design, right? Let's break those down.
The first weapon, or practice, is conceptualization.
Okay, what does that actually mean?
It's the act of giving tangible, physical shape to a solution long before the insights are fully acknowledged or validated by the market.
Building to understand.
Exactly. The Libratone designers literally stated in their interviews, "We just made a product. I think we had all these hunches, but it was unsaid, unacknowledged."
Okay, wait, I have to pause you there.
Uh-oh. Devil's advocate again.
You know it. Because if I build a physical product before validating it with hard market data, my investors are going to pull my funding and call me reckless.
Sure. On the surface, it sounds risky.
I mean, the lean startup methodology dictates that we validate before we write a single line of code or manufacture a single plastic mold. How is this not just setting cash on fire?
Because it demands we reconsider what validation actually is and what its limits are.
Okay, explain that.
The paper argues that the physical conceptualization process itself creates the space for unacknowledged hunches to materialize.
So you can't validate it before you build it.
You cannot validate a radical, category-defining opportunity with a survey because the consumer doesn't possess the vocabulary for it yet.
Ah, right. If Libratone asked focus groups in 2010 what they wanted, the data would just say a cheaper, blacker docking station.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Faster horses, right?
Yeah.
The act of building the concept reveals the market opportunity that spreadsheets simply cannot capture. You're building to understand the market, not just building to sell to it.
Wow. The prototype is the research tool itself. That flips the whole lean model upside down.
It really does.
Let's look at the second practice. Domain transfer, or what they call curating a mental inspiration library.
This one is so actionable. It's a discipline of transferring knowledge and principles across completely unrelated industries.
So when designing the physical Libratone speaker, the designers consciously refuse to look at other speaker companies.
Right, because studying your direct competitors only yields incremental features.
Instead, they studied the early days of the Apple brand to understand how to differentiate from cold PCs.
They studied contemporary Scandinavian furniture brands like Hay and Muto.
And they even studied shifting human behaviors. This behavioral insight was fascinating to me.
Oh, the soundtrack thing?
Yeah. They noticed people were starting to use music as a background soundtrack to other activities, like cooking or working in different rooms.
Rather than sitting stationary in a leather armchair staring at a massive stereo rack.
Exactly. And because of that behavioral domain insight, what did they do? They added a physical handle to a premium speaker so you could carry it around the house.
A handle on a high-end speaker. Unheard of at the time. The application for founders here is critical.
How do you actually do this domain transfer?
Well, you don't just look at the surface aesthetics of another industry. You extract their operational principles.
Give me an example.
Say you are building B2B software. Don't study other software. Study how a boutique hotel creates a sense of intimacy and immediate trust at check-in.
Oh, I love that.
Right. Ask yourself, how do we map the principle of the hot towel at the front desk onto our software's user onboarding flow? That is domain transfer.
That is such a good way to frame it. Which leads us perfectly to the third practice, which completely blew my mind. Cross-silo problem solving.
This is a game changer for operations.
It really is. This is about solving core business constraints by stepping entirely outside of traditional organizational silos.
And to explain how powerful this is, we have to unpack the cashmere story from the case study.
Yes, it is perhaps the most elegant example of opportunity design in action.
So Libratone has this beautiful, furniture-like speaker. Naturally, to capture that 1% demographic, their vision was to position it as a lifestyle product.
Right, and sell it in high-end Danish furniture stores like Ilum's Boligas.
Rather than big box electronics retailers like
Right.
Best Buy.
But here's the roadblock. Furniture retailers operate on entirely different financial realities than electronics stores.
Very different margins.
The furniture trade demands massive margins, often upwards of 50%. So to sell the speaker in a premium furniture store, Libratone would have to double the retail price compared to what they would charge in a standard tech store.
Right. Otherwise, the furniture retailer makes no money and refuses to stock it.
So in a traditionally siloed company, this is immediately categorized as a distribution or sales problem, right?
Absolutely. The sales team would spend months trying to negotiate a bespoke margin agreement.
Or, more likely, the executive team would simply abandon the high-end retail strategy altogether because the spreadsheet math just didn't work.
But Libratone didn't let the sales team handle it.
No, they didn't. Instead of relying on a sales tactic, they solved a distribution pipeline problem with a product design solution.
Which is so counterintuitive.
It is. They decided to manufacture versions of the speaker wrapped in incredibly expensive colored cashmere wool.
From a pure engineering standpoint, wrapping a speaker in thick wool is a completely low practical, almost absurd solution.
You want to put a sweater on my highly calibrated audio equipment.
Exactly. But what did it achieve?
It instantly justified a massive premium price tag to the consumer.
By fundamentally elevating the physical materials, they could organically hit the high price point required to give the furniture retailers their necessary margin.
And without making the tech look overpriced.
Exactly. This product design choice unlocked the exact lifestyle retail distribution channel they needed.
Which subsequently cemented their entire premium brand identity. It is brilliant.
It really is.
It's like realizing your startup's delivery car can't afford the fees on the toll road, so instead of sending your accounting team to haggle with the toll booth operator, you just have your engineering team turn the car into a helicopter.
Turn it into a helicopter, yes. They let product design completely overwrite their distribution strategy.
That is the essence of building holistic principles. They refuse to view product, sales, branding, and distribution as isolated departments.
Right. They use a unified knowledge base to actively design the entire business model from the physical product radiating outward.
So we've covered the Schumpeter debate, the trap of passive incubation, and the mechanics of the 1% strategy. But on this show, we demand immediate actionability.
We can't just leave them with a theory.
Right. We are moving from deep theory to hyper-tactical execution. So if you're listening, here is your do-it-today protocol. We've got 2 steps for you to execute the minute this deep dive ends.
Action item number 1. Audit your mental library.
Stop reading industry-specific competitor analysis today. Just stop it.
If you are building a B2B SaaS platform, reading about other B2B SaaS platforms is keeping you trapped in the piano black gadget race.
It really is. So what should they do instead?
Spend 30 minutes a day deeply studying a brand in a completely unrelated domain.
Study a fast food supply chain. Study a high-end fashion house. Study a commercial airline. Force a domain transfer brainstorming session with your team and map their core principles onto your user experience.
Action item number 2. Cross-contaminate your silos.
Identify your startup's absolute biggest operational bottleneck right now.
Is it a massive customer acquisition cost?
Mm-hmm.
A distribution hurdle? A pricing margin problem?
Take that problem away from the department that usually handles it.
Force your engineering brain to solve your sales problem. Force your marketing brain to solve a technical architecture problem.
Ask yourself, can a tiny feature tweak on the product side completely eliminate a massive pricing roadblock?
Just like the cashmere wool did for Libratone?
Exactly. It requires dismantling the artificial boundaries that limit your problem-solving capacity.
So true.
As we bring this analysis to a close, I want to leave everyone with 2 vital self-reflection questions based on the core mechanics of this research.
Listen closely to these. First, are you passively waiting for safe piano black market data to validate your idea? Or are you proactively designing an unvalidated opportunity that 1% of the market will absolutely, undeniably obsess over?
Man, that question alone should completely change your product roadmap for the quarter.
And second, what is one completely unrelated industry you can borrow a mental library from today to reframe your startup's biggest structural roadblock?
We want to hear exactly how you're applying this framework. Drop your answers to those 2 questions and any massive insights you had today right down in the comment section.
It is always phenomenal to watch this community of ambitious founders collectively rewire the future of venture building.
Over 100 million of you strong. It's incredible.
But before we go, consider this final thought. We are entering an era where AI agents can instantly analyze global market data.
Oh, this is the scary part.
It is. AI can identify every single Kirzner-style gap out there and automatically deploy optimized solutions to fill them at light speed.
So if your entire business model is based on just finding and filling gaps, you are competing against an algorithm that will always be faster than you.
Always. Which means the messy, intuitive human act of opportunity design creating entirely new paradigms that the data says shouldn't exist yet might soon be the only real advantage founders have left.
Let that sink in. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so we can keep bringing you the absolute cutting edge in mindset and venture building research. Stop waiting for the market to hand you an opportunity and start building the machine that designs the gold. Until next time, keep building.